from Texas's 30th district, South Dallas.
That's
Dallas
right.
Love Field, that's your neck of the woods?
Oh, yes, Dallas Love Field.
You are a new member.
Yes.
If you eventually get sworn in today or at some point this week.
Yes, one day.
But we still officially can't call you a congresswoman until this is settled.
No, they couldn't get their stuff together. You know, it's quite disappointing. You walk into the House and you think that you've moved up, right? And then you realize that the people that have been elected to take the reins seemingly are lacking in leadership. And so we see a House that's divided not just between Democrats and Republicans, but definitely the Republicans themselves can't get on the same page. And so it's going to be interesting to see them attempt to lead this term.
You not only are a first-year or first-term member of Congress, you were elected freshman class representative, right?
Absolutely.
What does that mean for Democrats?
Means everything. It means that they've got a firecracker that's going to be advocating for them. But no, more seriously, it talks to who we are as Democrats, because there's not been a black woman elected to House Democratic leadership since Shirley Chisholm, the first black woman that was ever elected to Congress. And so it speaks that Democrats are continually trying to move this country forward while the other side is unfortunately trying to move us back. So I'm going to continue to advocate and spread our message, not just in urban America, but in rural America. Rural America needs to know that farmers, if you want your farm to survive, you probably want to vote for a Democrat, because we believe in climate change. We understand what's happening to your farms. We also know in rural America that your hospitals are shutting down. And it's not because of the Democrats, it's because the Republicans that failed to expand on access to health care, and therefore these hospitals cannot sustain themselves. Why is it that your life expectancy in rural America should be cut short simply because your elected leaders won't do what's right? And so right now, what we're going to use is this opportunity to show that Democrats are unified and we're ready to lead, while Republicans want to wrangle and play games.
212 of you, excuse me, 212 of you in the Democratic caucus who've been voting in unison for Hakeem Jeffries, who is, of course, your new leader. Do you have any sense from leadership of how this might play out over the course of the day?
Listen, this is their show, and they're not running it right now. The stories that y'all are talking about is Hakeem Jeffries. Hakeem Jeffries continues to have the highest vote. Unfortunately, we're not there because the rules don't allow us to be, because it's a specific number that we're trying to get to. But I'm just going to say that what the American people can definitely count on us for is a unified front. The entire term, we will be together fighting for everyday people and trying to handle business. I can't say the same for the Republicans right now.
One of the perhaps encouraging things about this new Congress, whenever it formally convenes, is that it is the most diverse in history on both sides of the aisle in terms of who was elected. 28% of the House now is woman, a quarter of the Senate. Both Democrats and Republicans elected a record number of black, Latino, Asian, LGBTQ members.
Yeah.
You are, in essence, part of a class that is increasingly reflective of where the country's headed.
Absolutely. Listen, the winners this term definitely were the people. We had to endure voter suppression. We had to deal with maps that weren't fair. But people showed up in record numbers during a time when we really weren't supposed to. I mean, I know you were reporting on it too, saying, oh, it's going to be a red wave, because that's what everybody was saying.
Well, we were a little more cautious at CBS, but yes, that was definitely out there.
Well, I can appreciate that. But the people spoke, and the people said, we are going to resist because we see what the Supreme Court has done. We see where the other party is going. But you're right. I mean, when you look at our country, we are becoming more and more colorful. In fact, when we looked at the census, this was the first time that Anglo population actually did not increase at all. But we saw states like Texas. Texas is a majority-minority state.
Right.
And so our demographics look more like California. But when you look at our elected leaders, it looks nothing like California. And so I think it speaks to the moment. I think it speaks to what the people are craving. And honestly, I think that you see that no one is a monolith, right? You talk about the diversity on both sides. What we really want to do is make sure everybody votes, no matter who you are. Vote for who it is that you believe will represent you. But I will say that the Democrats got everybody's back. So you should be voting Democrat.
Well, okay, so, new Congress begins. We know from polling, we know from the results of the elections, we hear it from voters all the time, we want both parties to work together. Why can't they just work together?
Yeah.
Why do we have to be so divided?
Yeah.
You're a new member of Congress.
Yeah.
You're a member of Democratic leadership.
Yeah.
But who's your favorite Republican? Or have you found somebody on the Republican side that you'd be willing to work with on something once this
like
Congress
a trick
convenes?
question. No. Let me tell you this.
Trick question.
No. I'm messing with you. I'm going to say this. A lot of people have no idea who my Republican friends are. And yes, we do have Republican friends. I'm working for anyone that wants to work for the people. I think the economy is one of those things that we need to work together on. Mm-hmm. It's one of the things that the Republicans continually touted. My background is in business. That's what I majored in. I'm shooting for financial services. I think that we can do a lot of good, and I think all people, no matter what side of the aisle you come from, are looking for a very strong recovery versus this recession talk that we continually hear. And so, there's a lot of advancements that were made. My predecessor worked really hard on the CHIPS bill as the chair of the Science Committee. And so that's something that will hopefully put more cars on the roads and get them out of those manufacturers. But we're struggling right now, and people need to understand that this situation is not limited to us here in America. It is a global situation, and that's why something as important as the CHIPS bill was so important, because honestly, we've been relying a lot on a lot of people from a lot of places. This is bringing more jobs home. So I absolutely believe that on the economy, while we may not agree completely, I think that that's one of the areas that we will get to a place of compromise. In other areas, I don't think we'll get to smart places when it comes to reproductive rights. Obviously, the law of the land for over 50 years had been Roe v. Wade. Unfortunately, we are seeing some terrible results of going back the wrong way. But things that I'm looking to do, hopefully we can find middle ground on things such as deciding that interstate commerce is a real thing. And so states like Texas hopefully will not be able to say, hey, if you live in the state of Texas and you want to go to some other state that has lawful abortions, we're going to stop you or we're going to incarcerate you. We want to stop states from doing that. That is specifically going to be something that falls within our purview. And hopefully we can find some common ground, at least on that little piece. But, I don't know where we're going. But right now, the Republicans can't agree on anything. So when you talk about bipartisanship, I think we're good to go on some things, but they got to get, on our side a little bit.
All right. Well, you ever team up with a Republican on some piece of legislation, you let us know about it. Come back and talk to us about it.
Absolutely.
Either way, Jasmine Crockett, 30th District of Texas, the Dallas area, thank you for being here. Welcome to Washington. Welcome to Congress. We'll be in touch.
I enjoyed it.
Errol and Lana, back to you in New York.
Ed O'Keefe, thank you for that. And our thanks to Congresswoman-elect Jasmine Crockett, I guess, as she said there, hasn't been sworn in yet because of what you're seeing right here, the continued failure of Republicans to agree on who will be the next Speaker of the House. We're going to check in with Ed and Caitlin throughout the afternoon. And you can also watch cbsnews.com/now to hear what's happening on the floor at this moment.
And once there is leadership decided, then she and others will be sworn back in. And we will be back on the other side of this break with our other big stories that we're following today.
An original CBS Reports documentary.
Yoga and wellness has become a place of anti-science.
Online clickbait.
The algorithms feed you content based upon your own fantasy.
Potentially at my peril.
There's no question about it.
Spreading digital disinformation.
Their entire yoga studio and spiritual community got so embedded in all of the QAnon stuff that it became this sick place.
Why pro-health people are fertile ground for anti-science messages.
We can just go into the whole mask thing. A lot of us just believe that's symbolism for silencing people.
People are locked in this mindset. They've been taught to accept what the medical doctors say.
No longer are you going to be willing to take any medical advice.
It's a big problem that we urgently need to address.
An original CBS Reports documentary streaming now. An original CBS Reports documentary.
We need to put an end to this territorial status.
Will statehood create a better Puerto Rico?
So that we have the same quality of life that you see in the States.
What do you worry about?
Me living here in the future?
They're giving incentives to non-Puerto Ricans to come to Puerto Rico
and extract our natural resources and take over our land.
Vacation in Puerto Rico, and in exchange for that, you don't pay taxes.
Why would I allow somebody who abused me for 123 years to then